All right, diving right in, you mentioned that you're really interested in making your home more asthma-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So we dug up this article called How to Create an Asthma-Friendly Home, Tips for Reducing Triggers.
Okay.
And we thought we'd take a deep dive into it together.
Sounds good.
And maybe we'll uncover some surprising culprits that are lurking in our home.
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
Things that we don't even realize could be setting off those asthma symptoms.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so first up, the article calls out dust mites as like public enemy number one.
Yeah, they're a big one.
But I got to ask, we all have dust, right? What makes dust mites such a big deal when it comes to asthma?
So it's actually not the dust mites themselves, but it's their waste.
Oh, okay.
Those tiny droppings contain proteins, and those proteins are what can cause an allergic reaction.
I see.
And that's what then triggers those really familiar asthma symptoms.
Okay, so coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing.
Exactly, all of that.
So the article recommends using those special allergen-proof covers for mattresses and pillows,
Yes,
which seems pretty straightforward.
that's a good first step.
But then it also says to wash bedding and curtains weekly in hot water.
Yes,
Like really hot, at least 130 degrees.
at least.
Is it really necessary to go that hot? I
It
mean,
really is.
I feel like that would shrink everything.
You know, it might shrink some things, but
Yeah.
dust mites and those allergens are surprisingly tough.
Oh, wow.
You really got to hit them with,
Yeah.
I think of it like a superhero punch.
Oh.
The hot water doesn't just wash away the allergens, it actually denatures the proteins that are causing all those reactions.
So it's not just rinsing. It's actually like
Yeah, it's breaking them down.
breaking them down.
You're breaking down the proteins.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the article also mentions carpets, and I was surprised by this.
Yeah.
How bad are carpets, really, for someone with asthma?
Well, carpets can be a little bit of a double-edged sword. You know, they add warmth and comfort,
Sure.
but they also act like this giant filter,
I could see that.
trapping everything, dust, pet dander, everything.
Pollen, probably, right?
Oh, yeah, everything.
Oh, that stuff.
And over time, even with regular vacuuming, all those allergens just build up.
So even if I'm like a good little housekeeper and I'm vacuuming regularly,
Yeah.
it's still down there lurking.
It's still there.
So it's like this reservoir of allergens just waiting to be stirred up.
Exactly. Yeah. And for someone with asthma, that can be a real problem.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So are hardwood floors or tiles like the only way to go then?
Well, they're definitely easier to keep clean
Okay.
and less likely to harbor dust mites.
All right, so now we're getting to air quality, which is a big one I know.
Huge.
And the article talks a lot about HEPA filters,
Yes.
and not just in those little standalone air purifiers.
Right.
It says make sure your HVAC system has them too.
Yes, definitely.
So why is that so important?
Well, think of HEPA filters as like your secret weapon against airborne allergens.
Okay.
HEPA stands for High Efficiency Particulate Air.
Oh.
And they're really amazing
Yeah.
because they can trap those tiny particles that regular filters just miss.
Like what kind of particles are we talking about here?
We're talking pollen, dust mite allergens, pet dander, mold spores,
Wow, okay.
all those things that can trigger asthma.
Gotcha. So it's not enough to just have like a little air purifier
Right.
in one room.
No, you need your whole system.
I need to make sure my whole heating and cooling system is actually filtering the air.
Yes, because your HVAC system circulates air throughout your whole house, right?
That's true.
So if that air is full of these microscopic triggers, it's going to affect your breathing no matter what room you're in.
That's a great point. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
Okay, this next one's a little bit tricky because I know you're a pet lover,
I am.
but the article talks about managing pet allergens.
It's tough.
I know. Can you break down why pets can be such a problem for people with asthma?
Well, you know, our furry friends, they're part of the family.
Absolutely.
But it's true, they can be a source of allergens.
Okay.
And it all comes down to their dander, those tiny flicks of skin.
Right.
They contain proteins. And for some people, those proteins trigger that immune response.
Oh, wait.
And then you get the allergy symptoms and asthma flare-ups.
So it's not about getting rid of our pets, it's about managing the allergens, right?
Exactly. The article has some great tips on that,
Okay, like what?
like keeping pets out of bedrooms,
That makes sense.
bathing them regularly, using a HEPA vacuum to get those dander particles.
Okay, so if someone's allergic to cats or dogs, keeping them out of the bedroom,
Yeah.
where you spend like a third of your life probably,
Yeah, exactly.
that would definitely reduce exposure.
Reduce exposure.
But why is regular bathing so important?
Because when you wash your pet, you're removing loose dander and hair.
Okay.
So there's less floating around your home and less to trigger those asthma symptoms. And then the HEPA vacuum, it's specifically designed to trap those tiny particles.
So it's much better than just like a regular vacuum.
Much more effective, yes.
Okay, now on to a topic that might seem more about aesthetics than health: mold.
Yeah.
But this article says it's a serious asthma trigger. Is that true?
Mold can definitely be a problem.
Okay.
And it's more than just an unsightly nuisance.
Okay.
You know, when mold grows, it releases these tiny spores into the air.
Oh.
And when you breathe them in, they can irritate your airways.
Oh, wow.
And for someone with asthma, that can mean coughing, wheezing, all those breathing problems.
Okay, so the article is big on controlling humidity and ventilation,
Right.
which seems logical. I mean, mold loves a damp, dark place to thrive.
Exactly. Mold needs moisture to grow.
Okay,
So keeping your home dry is key.
makes sense.
That means fixing any leaks, using a dehumidifier if you need to,
Okay.
making sure there's good ventilation,
Yeah.
especially in areas like bathrooms and kitchens.
This is something I never even considered. The article says that mold can lurk in hidden spots,
Yeah.
like under the sink, behind appliances,
It's scary.
inside the walls even.
Yeah, you don't always see it.
It's not always visible.
Nope.
Okay, so we've covered dust mites, air quality, pets, and mold.
A lot.
What's next?
Well, let's talk about smoke, which is another big one,
Okay.
especially for people with asthma.
Okay, smoke. It seems pretty obvious that, like, smoking indoors is a big no-no
Oh, absolutely.
for an asthma-friendly home, but
Yeah.
is there more to it than that?
There is, yeah. The article talks about something called third-hand smoke, which is something that a lot of people don't know about.
Third-hand smoke.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that. What is that?
So think of it this way.
Okay,
Even after a cigarette is put out,
right.
those harmful chemicals, they linger.
Okay.
They settle on surfaces, furniture, walls, even clothing.
Oh, wow.
It's like this invisible residue.
Oh, that's a little creepy.
You might not see it, you might not smell it, but it's still there.
Wow, so even if someone smokes outside,
Right.
they could still be bringing those particles back in the house.
Exactly. Yeah, on their clothes, their hair.
That is unsettling.
It is.
So the article is saying that for a truly asthma-friendly home,
Yeah,
it needs to be, like, completely smoke-free.
completely. Yeah, no smoking indoors at all.
And ideally, smokers should even change their clothes.
Yeah, change clothes, wash their hands thoroughly before they come back inside.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I never realized those particles could be so, like, pervasive. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be mindful of.
Okay, let's move on to something that might make some people squirm.
Okay.
Cockroaches and rodents.
Uh,
I know nobody wants to think about these things, but can they actually be asthma triggers?
they can, yeah. And it's similar to dust mites.
Okay.
It's not the creatures themselves. It's their droppings, saliva, shed, skin.
Oh, gosh.
Those tiny particles can become airborne,
Oh.
trigger asthma symptoms.
So it's like a dust mite situation all over again,
Yeah, pretty much.
just with bigger, creepier critters.
Exactly. And the key is to minimize their presence in your home.
Right. Okay, so how do we do that? What does the article recommend?
Well, the article really emphasizes non-chemical methods
Okay.
for pest control, which is a good thing
Yeah.
because those chemicals can actually sometimes be irritants themselves.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it recommends simple things.
Okay.
Like keeping food stored properly,
Sure.
airtight containers, taking out the trash regularly,
Right.
sealing up any cracks or holes
Well, that makes sense.
where these unwelcome guests might be getting in.
Okay, so those are all, like, good preventative measures
Right.
that most people can do.
Yeah.
But what if you already have an infestation?
Then the article suggests traps or bait stations,
Right.
which are safer than chemical sprays.
Good to know. Okay, so let's move on to something a bit more pleasant.
Let's do it.
Hypoallergenic materials.
Much better.
I will admit, I mostly associate that with pillows,
Yeah.
but the article suggests thinking bigger.
Think bigger. Yeah, when you're creating an asthma-friendly home, you really got to consider everything.
Okay, so what should we be looking for when it comes to fabrics and materials?
Well, natural fibers like cotton and linen,
Okay.
they're generally good choices.
Yeah.
They're breathable and less likely to trap dust mites
Okay.
compared to some of those synthetic fabrics.
And what about furniture?
The article mentioned leather or vinyl furniture. They're
Okay.
easier to clean. They don't harbor those allergens.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so those are a good choice.
And curtains.
Yeah, heavy drapes are a no-no.
Figured as much, yeah.
They're just dust magnets.
Right, yeah. So what's a better alternative?
Washable curtains or blinds made from materials like bamboo
Okay.
or synthetic microfiber.
So things that are easier to keep
Easy to clean, yeah, and less likely to trigger allergies.
Okay, this is all making so much sense. I'm starting to get, like, inspired
That's good.
to give my home, like, an asthma-friendly makeover.
Yeah, you don't have to do everything at once, though.
That's true.
Just start with one or two things.
That you can do today.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Right.
Exactly. Okay, speaking of teamwork, the article really stresses the importance of involving, like, the whole household
Yeah, everyone needs to be on board.
in creating that asthma-friendly environment.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's not just one person's responsibility.
right. It's a team effort.
It's about creating a healthy environment for everyone.
Yeah.
But how do we get everyone on board?
Well, it starts with communication
Okay.
and education.
Okay.
Explain to your family and housemates why these changes are important.
Right.
Not just for someone with asthma,
Right.
but for everyone's well-being.
So instead of saying, we have to get rid of the carpets,
Yeah.
it's more about explaining how carpets can trap those allergens
Yeah.
that affect everyone.
Exactly. Frame it as a positive step
Okay.
towards a healthier, more comfortable home
Yeah, I like that.
for everybody.
Okay, and then maybe even make it a family project,
That's a good idea.
like cleaning, decluttering, making those adjustments together.
Exactly. Working together
Yeah.
makes it feel less like a chore and more like a team effort towards a common goal.
And don't underestimate the power of leading by example,
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
right? So when they see you doing it,
Yeah.
and they see the benefits,
And
hopefully,
exactly.
they'll kind of jump on board.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
That's true.
Just start small and build from there.
Right.
Every step you take is a step towards a healthier and happier home.
I love that.
Yeah, for everyone.
This deep dive has been packed with great information
Mm-hmm.
about creating an asthma-friendly home.
Yeah,
I feel like I've learned a ton,
good.
and I'm already starting to think about
Good.
changes I can make in my own home.
That's great.
As we've been talking about all this,
Yeah,
it struck me that it's really about more than just asthma.
it is. Yeah.
It's about creating a healthy living space for anyone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Regardless of whether they have asthma or not.
Absolutely. A lot of these recommendations, reducing dust, improving air qualities,
Right.
controlling humidity,
All that stuff.
they all contribute to just a cleaner, healthier home environment
For everyone.
for everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. So even if you don't have asthma,
Right.
you can still learn a lot from this and
Auntie.
apply these tips
Mhm.
to improve your overall well-being.
Absolutely. It's about taking a proactive approach
Okay.
to your health and the health of your family.
Now, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier,
Okay.
that whole idea of involving the whole household
Yes, it's important.
in this process.
Yeah. It's great to be motivated
Right.
to make changes yourself.
Right.
But how do we get everyone else on board?
Right. Because sometimes it's hard to get
Yeah.
family members or housemates
Right.
to change their habits.
Absolutely. It comes down to communication,
Okay.
making it a shared goal, not a burden. Talk to your family, your housemates,
Okay.
about why these changes are important.
Yeah.
Not just for the person with asthma, but for everybody's health and comfort.
So instead of saying we have to get rid of the carpets,
Right.
it's more about explaining
Exactly.
how carpets can trap those allergens?
Right. Frame it in a positive light.
Okay.
Explain how reducing dust, improving ventilation,
Yeah.
choosing hypoallergenic materials,
All right.
create a more comfortable and healthy environment
For everyone.
for everyone.
And maybe even make it a family project.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Like cleaning, decluttering,
Working together.
bringing these adjustments together.
Exactly. And remember, leading by example is incredibly powerful.
So true.
When others see you making these changes and experiencing the benefits,
Right.
they're more likely to follow suit.
Actions speak louder than words.
They really do, especially when it comes to a healthy home.
Absolutely.
And it's a journey, not a destination. Start with one or two small changes and build from there.
I love that.
Yeah, every step you take towards creating an asthma-friendly home is a step towards a healthier and happier life for everyone.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
Well, thank you.
I feel empowered to start making some changes
Good.
in my own home, and I really appreciate you guiding me through this
Of course, my pleasure.
and sharing your expertise.
Happy to do it. Remember, knowledge is power.
That's right.
And now you have the knowledge to create a truly asthma-friendly home. What one change will you make today to get started?